Hi, this is Hank Field. In this video, we're going to talk about branching in Git. So there's a bunch of different commands that we're going to talk about, but let me first explain the general idea of what branching is. So when you're working on a piece of software, it's quite often the case that you want to keep different versions, not versions in terms of checkpoints like what we're using Git for in general, but more like we want to be able to have a release version, and we want to have a development version, and maybe we need one that is a part of the code where we're working on a specific feature. So maybe we have a bunch of different features we're working on kind of in parallel, and we don't want to have to worry about syncing them all up all the time. We want to wait till we finish implementing a feature, and we want to implement it or merge it rather back into the rest of our development code base. So that's what Git branches allow us to do. A branch is just one, think of a tree, one branch of your code base, and you can have a whole bunch of branches, and you do development on each of those branches in parallel. And at any point, you can merge two branches back together, or you can merge changes from one branch onto another branch and still keep them separate from that point forward. So it turns out to be very helpful, especially for larger software projects or projects where you've got a lot of different people working on different features at the same time. So that's the kind of the background behind branching. And now I'll show you how to actually do it in Git. And we'll look at GitHub and how GitHub kind of visualizes these. Okay, so I'm going to use the same example we've been using. So I'm going to go into Sublime Text. I've got a couple of files in our project here. And if I go into, we can see them all kind of laid out over here. So here's what I want to do. I want to create a new branch. Right now I'm on master. That's the default branch. Anytime you create a new repository, master is the default main branch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one just for development. And so I'll work on a development. I'll work within the development branch until I'm ready to release a production version, and then I'll put that over to master. So I'll use development just for while I'm actively developing. Okay, so here's how we're going to do that. We're going to use our first command here. We'll actually look at these first three because I'm going to end up doing this last one as it turns out. So we can do get branch, and if we leave off the branch name, I'll show you what happens. So here I'm in my, let me clear the screen here. Here I'm in my repository. If I do get status, you can see everything's up to date. Let me do get branch. And what you'll see is a list of the branches we have, and then depending on where you're running this, you may or may not see coloring, but the little star, the asterisk, tells you which branch you're currently on. Now we only have one branch, which is the default branch of master, and that's the one that we're currently viewing. If I wanted to create a new branch, I could do that. So I could do get branch, and then let's say we want to do develop. So that'll be the name of my new branch. And if I do get branch without anything, that'll show me the list of branches. I now have two, but I'm on master, so that's the one that has the star. And if I want to check out the develop branch, if I want to move over to developing or to using the files that are in that branch, I can do get checkout and then the name. And it tells me I switched to branch develop. And now when I do get branch, I can see that I'm on develop, not on master. Now when you branch, you're branching the current branch that you're in. So I was in master, so when I ran get branch develop, that essentially cloned my master branch and renamed and named that clone develop. So when I move over to develop, I'm going to have all the same files I had in master. But any changes I make to develop won't be seen over in master unless I specifically merge them. And we'll talk about how to do that a little bit later. Okay, so this is a pretty common task to want to create a new branch and then check it out. And so there's a nice little shortcut where you can kind of do them both at the same time. And that's get checkout -b and then the branch name. So if we do get checkout b, see, I'm on develop right now. So let's say that I'm going to create a new feature branch. So let's see, we did I let's say that I'm going to implement the sum feature, which I haven't finished yet. So we'll do get checkout -b sum feature. Okay, so now if I do get branch, I can see that I'm in sum feature. This textual display doesn't really give you a sense for how these are all connected, or which one was split from the other. Although we'll look at some GUIs that will show us that in a little bit. Okay, so that's how we do that. Now, once you have one of these branches, probably what you're going to want to do is to push them up to GitHub. So let's say we have our develop branch, right? If that's the one I want everyone who is assisting me to add to, or even if I want to use that branch on other computers, then I need to make sure that that's part of our centralized repository. So what I'm going to do is, let me check out develop again. So I'll do get checkout develop. And now I'm going to do get push origin. I'm doing the -u there so it tracks it. -u origin develop. Oh, sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. I put a slash in there, but I didn't want a slash. Okay, so it says that there's a new branch named develop. If I go back over to here, and let me refresh my GitHub page, it now says I have 2 branches, and I can click on that. And it says I have master and I have develop. And if I go back over to my main code overview, you can actually look at the code in these by clicking the branch up here and selecting the branch you want. Now you'll notice that feature sum, or sum feature, whatever I called it, that branch isn't up here, and that's because I never pushed those changes. Okay, cool. So let me head over to the Windows side, and so I think I believe I still have changes I need to merge from GitHub. So let me do get pull. That'll pull those in. And now if I do get branch, I'm only going to see that I have master. So now I want to show you another command, and that is get checkout -t, and then a remote name / a branch name. So the -t says I want to track the branch that's at this remote location, and I want to check it out. So let's try that with our develop example. Okay, so get checkout -t, and we're going to do origin, because that's the name that I have for the GitHub remote, / develop. Okay, so this says switch to a new branch develop. Branch develop is set to track remote branch develop from origin. And now if I do get branch rather, I can see that I'm on develop now. Okay, so that's good. So now let's look at how we could do some merges. You know what? I'm going to actually save that for the next video because merges are also called pull requests, and I'm going to kind of combine those both into one video so you can see a manual way of doing it as well as an automated way of doing it. All right, thanks.